do exercises that aren't too heavy, uh, and just do a lot of repetitions, and that way I'm not so worried about whether I'm going to get uh, injured or something like that with the weights. Um, Today I was working on some exercises that use the dumbbells, and also, and these exercises right here, they didn't really work up. They did work up a little bit of a sweat, but there's other times when it's just it's like the end of the workout. I'm just dying for it to be over with because it's so darn hard. Um, but I know that I can keep on pushing because with those lighter weights, then it does allow me to push a little bit further. And uh, I think to myself, oh, this light, this weight is light, so I think I can do a couple more. And then by the end of that, I'm thinking, well, maybe I could do a couple more, and then a couple more, and by the end, then I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I was able to do all the repetitions. So with the lighter weights, then it's easier to do the full amount of repetitions that you desire. But the hardest thing about that, whenever you can get a lot of repetitions in, then the harder thing about that is that it starts to put a lot of work on your breathing. Um, and so you have to really think about your breathing technique. There was one guy that also is talking about how breathing is so important whenever he lifts. Um, but and he's a weightlifter too. So, but a much more he does a lot more heavier weights than I do. And that way, it kind of gets your mind off of there might be burning or might be severe discomfort, um, or pulling or something like that in the muscles. And so whenever you're more focused on your breathing, just for me, for example, then I'm thinking about not my muscles in my arms or my chest or my abs or my shoulders or anything like that. I'm thinking about my breathing, and what that does is it kind of makes me start to think about my lungs, and actually I start to think more about the about areas inside of my chest, not really thinking about not really thinking about the muscles. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about breathing, and whenever I'm thinking about breathing, then it's almost like I'm focusing my attention away to, it's almost like the back of my back. I'm almost just kind of thinking about something else, and the breathing, and I end up concentrating so much on my breathing that I forget about the pain in my arms or the discomfort or the burning in my arms, and I can keep doing reps, but it all just depends on if I keep my breathing steady, and if I start to run out of breath, then I will take a couple seconds in between each rep, and I will kind of catch my breath, and then